welcome to the Knitting with Cat Hair podcast. My name is Nikki. I am also known as Knitting with Cat Hair on Instagram and Cat Hair Knitting on Ravelry. I'm coming to you from Sudbury, Ontario, Canada, which lies atop the traditional lands of the Atikameksheng and Anishinaabe people, where I live with my family and our 5 cats. And if this is your first time here, a big warm welcome and a big welcome back to all returning viewers. I hope that everyone is doing well and getting lots of making done. So I have a pretty, I think, jam-packed episode today. I have no finished objects. However, I do have, I think I have 3 new cast-ons to talk about. So I think we'll just jump right in. I am going to start with some admin things up front, just because, well, because our A Year of Mariewallinkal is coming to a close August 1st. So I just wanted to let everyone know that, as discussed, I'm going to be doing another year. And firstly, the A Year of Mariewallinkal was a make-along that started August 1st of last year. It's ending by August 1st of this year. All you had to do was cast on a Marie Wallin design after August 1st of last year and use the hashtag over on Instagram, A Year of Mariewallinkal. And I will be drawing names for prizes on August 1st, hopefully around there. And yeah, I'll be offering up 2 prizes myself, and they're going to be in the form of gift certificates to a store, an online store of your choosing. I just thought that was the best way to kind of put all of the funds towards yarn, as opposed to worry about having to pay for shipping and things like that. So that way the winners can choose, you know, which store they want to support or what they want to get. Anyways, I just thought that made the most sense. And we also had 2 wonderful participants who also have podcasts who are donating prizes as well. So Cher of the Lathe and Loom podcast is putting up a prize, and as is Amanda from the Yarns and Brews podcast. So both of those podcasts are wonderful. I've mentioned them both in previous episodes, so you should definitely check them out. I will put links down below. And so you may be contacted by Amanda or Cher as well. So there's 4 prizes altogether, which is fantastic. And I just want to say it's been really, really fun. Thank you so much to all of you who participated, and yeah, I hope you guys learned something along the way. I know I personally learned quite a bit in the making of my chestnut. So yeah, it was a wonderful opportunity. And so we're gonna continue that forward. So starting August 1st, we'll do another year of Mariewallinkal. I think I'll put the hashtag here. I think I'm going to be calling it another year of MWCal. Actually, Mal. We'll put Mal because it is a make-along. You can crochet. She has some wonderful crochet patterns as well. Okay, and this time, whips can be included. So if you've already started a Marie Wallin and you want to finish it off, now's a great time. And I'm going to be drawing prizes specifically from the finished objects thread, or finished objects hashtag, I should say. So we'll have a separate hashtag for finished objects. That's where the prizes will be drawn from, because I really want to encourage everyone to finish their Marie Wallins this time. So I'll put the hashtag here, and when you finish your project, just use the hashtag over on Instagram. And so what else can I say about it? It's a year long. We also have a Slack group. I've mentioned this in previous episodes, but I have a Slack group for the Knitting with Cat Hair podcast group. And there's a thread in there for the Marie Wallin make-along, and it's a wonderful group of people. Everyone on there is so welcoming and so helpful if you're having any difficulties. There's people of all different experience levels. There's people who have knit various Marie Wallin patterns that can assist you if you need any help. Yeah, it's a really great little group, and if you'd like to get added, I always put the link down in the description below. And sorry, I should say some people may not know how to access the description for videos. I think you can only do it on computers and like tablets or phones. I don't think you can access it on TV. Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't watch on my TV, so I don't know for sure. But yeah, so there's a little down arrow, I guess, that you can click, and that will pull down the start of the show notes. And then there's a little like ... more. And if you click on that, it will give you the full show notes. So I know some people were having some issues before, so I just wanted to clarify, just in case you didn't know how to access them. Technology, eh? Anyways, yeah. So I hope you'll join in. So I think that is it for admin things. Just trying to think if I forgot anything. No, I think that's it. So we'll move right into the making talk. So first off, I will start with what I'm wearing. I should say I did not knit this. This was actually knit by my mom. So she knit it, and fortunately for me, but unfortunately for her, it turned out too large. So she's given it to me. So this is called, sorry, I have some notes here if I'm looking down. It's called Berry Picking, and it's by Kristen Tendyke. It is a pattern, I think, that was put out by Sweet Georgia Yarns, because the original called for yarn is Sweet Georgia Silk and Flax Fine, or Flax and Silk Fine. I always get the name mixed up. Anyways, so it was a pattern that they put out. A really cute pattern. Obviously it's a tank top. Let's see if I can stand up and show you. So it's got these little eyelets along the border, and then also along the shoulders. And I like that it's a V-neck. It's very comfortable. It's nice for summer for sure. It's beautiful, and my mom did a wonderful job on it. And it was knit up out of Small Bird Workshop yarn on the waxwing base, which is 75% merino, 25% silk. So it's really lovely. It's a really lovely base. And the color for this one is called sumac. I just think it's really pretty. Yeah. So, oh, I should also say my mom held the yarn double to make this. So it's a fingering weight, I believe. So she held it double. Yeah. So that is what I'm wearing today. Okay, let's move into whips. Where should we start? I have so many whips. I will save the new ones for last. So I will give an update on, we'll start with this one. Start with this one. That was a new one. I don't even know what's in my project bags. It's hilarious. Okay, we'll start with my Daffodil, which is a pattern by Marie Wallin. The pattern is found in the Springtime Collection book, which is a beautiful collection of patterns. I think I've done a bit of a flip through before. Yeah, but this is the Daffodil. Hopefully you guys can see that. It's a beautiful, all over textured sweater that has columns of alternating kind of like cables and lace panels. It's really pretty. It is knit flat in pieces and then seamed, and it's a drop shoulder construction. So here's what I have so far. And I'm sorry if this is a little bit boring, because I know it's kind of repetitive, but I've had several new subscribers who may not have seen this project before, so I'm gonna keep showing it as long as I make enough progress. So you can see the little progress keeper there. That's where I was last time I showed this. So I did quite a few inches. And yeah, it's so pretty. So this is the back. You start with the back. So it's got some lace and some wonderful cables. And then the cable panel, and then the lace again. And what I also love very much about this pattern is the way that the cables at the bottom, or the ribbing, ties into the cables. Isn't that cool? I love that detail. Yeah, so this is being knit out of Holst Garn Super Soft. I bought a cone of it a little while ago, and the colorway is called Sweet Pea, and it's this really delicate pink with, when you look at it up close, and I don't think you can see it on camera, no, but when you look at it in person, there's little speckles of purples and yellows, and it's really, really pretty, and yeah, I think it'll look really nice once it's done. So yeah, I'm just starting, I'm just working on the back. I have not even started the front, obviously. And part of me is wishing that I would have converted it to knitting in the round, truthfully. But it's a little late for that, so so I'll just keep going with what I have. Okay, so I should say the Holst Garn Super Soft is a 50% Shetland, 50% merino yarn. I've mentioned this before. It feels crunchy to the feel, to the touch, but apparently once you wash it, it really softens up and blooms and becomes very lovely. So I'm looking forward to that. I am holding the yarn single. I've had quite a few people ask me about that because I know the Holst Super Soft is kind of a light fingering. It's very thin. So I think typically people hold it double, but I am holding it single and I still could not get gauge. I'm still too loose, even though I am knitting it on a US 2.75 millimeter needle. So yeah, I definitely didn't want to hold it double because it'd be way too big. So it's a little bit bigger. My gauge is looser. What else can I say? I'm making the extra large size, which is for a 44 to 46 inch bust. I have a 45 inch bust for reference. And oh, I didn't bring them with me. Shoot. I wanted to show you guys something. So I noticed when I was knitting the lace and cables, I use a Chowgu red lace needles. I noticed that my tips were unscrewing often. And then the yarn was getting caught in between the join. It was driving me crazy. And I even used, you know, when you get your Chowgus, they come with a little like T-pin that you can use to tighten. I tried that. It worked for a little bit and then they were loose again. So I had placed an order. Oh yes, I placed an order from yarncanada.ca, which I think is similar to Webs in the US. And when I was ordering some yarn, I saw that they had these little Chowgu, they're specific to Chowgu brand, little grippy things. I don't know what they're called. They're little grips and they're heart-shaped. And they basically allow you to, like what you do is they're like a plastic, grippy plastic, and you wrap it around the needles. They give you two, so one on each end, and you can tighten because it allows you to get a grip and really tighten that needle in. And I tried that out and it worked really well, way better than the T-pins. So I just wanted to let you know, because if you're struggling with that issue as well, you might want to look at them. I don't think they were very expensive. I can't remember how much they were, but I don't think they're super expensive. So you might want to look at investing in a set of those little grippy things. They worked for me. Anyways, so yeah, I think that's it for the Daffodil. And I'll say it's housed in this lovely little fox bag by My Knittle Crafts, which is a Canadian bag maker on Etsy, I believe. And before I go any further, I just want to say I'm not sponsored by anybody. I just talk about what I love on this podcast. Okay, so moving on to the next update, we have the Bressay dress. So that's housed in this beautiful handmade bag that came from Ecuador that my mom brought me back. So the Bressay dress is a pattern by Gudrun Johnston. It is only found in this book called Fair Isle Style, which is out of print. I bought mine on Amazon. I got a used copy. There were several, at the time, there were several on Amazon. You may still be able to get it. But a word of warning though, the patterns in here are not very size inclusive. I think they go up to an XXL or something. I'm making the second largest size of the dress. So just a word of warning, not size inclusive. So I'm making the Bressay, which is a dress. I'll be honest, I'm still debating whether or not I want to turn this into a tunic instead, because it's taking me so long to make, and at this point it's quite boring. I'll pop a picture in. Sorry, I'm looking for the pattern, but okay, well, here. This is what it looks like. It's really cute. I love the little pockets, the little Fair Isle design on it, and there's Fair Isle at the bottom and on the yoke. So I finished the Fair Isle bit on the yoke a long time ago. So now it's literally just knitting in the round stockinette on the way down to the bottom. So it's taking a long time. Front, this is the front. Do I have a stitch marker? Oh yes, okay. So I did a few inches on it. I know it's not super exciting, but I've started the increases. So it's kind of like an A-line dress. So obviously I've finished all of the ferrule at the top, and I've separated for the sleeves. I just have them on my little barber cords. I think you just do a little bit of ribbing afterwards. And yep. So I'm thinking like I could potentially make this instead into a tunic, and then, you know, still do the little pockets and the ferrule at the bottom, and then just throw it on with a pair of leggings or something. That might look kind of cute, because I'm not like, the more I think about it, I'm like, when am I gonna wear this knitted dress? When? How often am I gonna wear a dress, really? I mean, it seemed like a good idea. It seems like, I don't know. The people that I know who have knit this dress don't tend to wear it. So, I don't know. Anyways, I still have time to figure that out. So there's where I'm at on the Bressay dress. And the yarns that I'm using for the Bressay are all Brooklyn Tweed Loft, which is a fingering weight. There's 275 yards per 50 gram ball. I think these are 50 grams. Doesn't say. I'm not sure. But the yarn is made out of American Targhee Columbia wool. 100% non-superwash. It's all US based. So sourced in Johnston County, Wyoming. Spun in Harrisville, New Hampshire, and dyed in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. So yeah, and I'm using 4 different colors. And the colors are tartan. It's beautiful turquoise. I love me some turquoise. This is iceberg, I believe. And then hayloft is the yellow. And then the main color is this like heathery brown gray that's called Storm Cloud. Yeah, so that is the update on my Bressay dress. It's like, I think it's the only really mindless project I have on my needles right now. So I just sit it by my desk. I'm working from home, so I just sit it there, and whenever there's an opportunity during a conference call or something like that, I put a few stitches in. And okay, what else did I want to say about that? The needles, I'm using US 2.75 millimeter needles to knit this dress. You'll see a theme here. And I'm knitting the size 46.25 inches. My gauge is looser. As I said, I have a 45-inch bust, so it's going to be a little bit bigger. And as mentioned, it's the second largest size in the pattern, which again, not size inclusive. Okay, so next up, just gonna move up a little bit. Actually, a sip of coffee first. Okay. Wow, it's still hot. Okay, next up we have my Samfree. So this is a new cast on, but it's not to be unexpected because I showed you my swatches in the last episode. So the Samfree is a pattern by Marie Wallin. It's found in her Shetland book. I didn't bring the book out with me this time, but yeah, the Shetland book is just, it has so many beautiful patterns in it. And I'm knitting it. I'll talk about the yarn after, but here's what I have so far. I have ribbing for days and a little tiny bit of color work. So I'll say this ribbing, which is 12 centimeters long. So what is that in inches? 5 inches or so? Something like that. Close to 5 inches of ribbing. It's a lot. It took me a whole week to get the ribbing done. So, but I'm done it. And now I'm starting the wonderful color work. I have deviated from the pattern in terms of the construction. So the original pattern has you knit the Samfree in pieces, front and back flat, and then seam it together. And I have converted to knitting in the round. So my plan is to knit in the round up until the armholes and then switch to knitting front and back. So I'm avoiding the steeking basically. Yeah, that could change. At this point, that's my plan, is to knit up to the armholes and then convert, like separate and start knitting the front and back separately. And then I can do all the neck shaping that's called for in the pattern and just make it to pattern. So there were some concerns, and I talked about this in my last episode. Basically what happens is, because you knit such a large panel of ribbing, after that, and you switch to stockinette, the color work, it was bulging, like it bulges at the bottom. So to avoid that, I know, again, Andrea Fruity Knitting, I'll put a link down to her video because she talks about the construction, the way that she did her Samfree. She removed, I think she said 10 centimeters of stitches. So 4 inches worth of stitches. I think that's what she said. It wasn't 20, was it? No, I'm pretty sure it was 10 centimeters. And then just gently increased back up to the normal stitch count. That's how she did hers. I didn't want to fuss around with the stitch pattern, so I chose to instead just use different needle sizes to basically do the same thing. So I knit the ribbing on US 2, which is a 2.75 millimeter needle, and then normally you would switch to your color work size, which I think for me will be a US 3, 3.25 millimeter. But instead I went down. So I went to a US 1.5, which I believe is a 2.5 millimeter needle. So I'm going to do basically US 1 for a bit, US 2 needles for a bit, and then finally get up to the US 3s, which is going to be my standard. Like, that's the one I need to do my body on. And that's how I'm going to get, like, hopefully a gentle kind of increasing. I just hope it's not too tight down on my belly area. Anyways, this is trial and error. We're going to see how this goes, and I'll try it on as I go and see if it fits okay and what's happening, because yeah. And so I've talked about the needle sizes that I'm using. I am knitting the size large, although from the measurements I should be knitting the extra large, but because my gauge is still too loose, I don't know, I'm a very loose knitter. So since my gauge is looser, instead of going down another needle size, because at that point I'd be knitting on a US 1 2.25, which is like basically my sock needles, like what I use for socks. I'm like, I can't do it. It's gonna take forever. So instead of going down in needle size, I just went down in the pattern size. And with my gauge, after I calculated my gauge and doing a little bit of math, I determined that really the difference shouldn't be much. I think it was like it's like 1/3 of an inch difference. And because there's already enough positive ease, I think the size that I should be making, the extra large, gives you almost 51 inches, or maybe it was 51. Yeah, it was 51 inches around the body, and I have a 45-inch bust, so that's like 5 inches positive ease. So I figured going down by 1/3 of an inch wasn't going to be that big of a deal. So that'll give me 50.66 inches if I make the size large at the gauge that I'm getting. Okay, so that's what I'm doing. Sorry if that's a little convoluted. If you have any questions, please do not hesitate to let me know down below and ask. Okay, in terms of the yarn, I'm using all the call for yarns, which I brought out today to show you. Sorry, they're not super, they barely fit in this little basket here, so they're not super organized. But the called for yarn is Jamieson's Shetland Spindrift. Oh, this doesn't want to focus. Which is 100% non-superwash Shetland wool. And these are little 25-gram skein or balls, which is nice for color work. There's 105 meters per ball. And this pattern calls for 14, did I write it? I think it's 14 different colors. I didn't write it down. Yeah, lots of different colors, but they blend so well. It's a really, I find it one of Marie's more like low contrast color work patterns. And I'm really enjoying it. I've already knit the swatches, so I know what it's going to look like, and I love it. Love, love, love it. Just hoping that I can get the fit right. So that is that. So yeah, currently have 2 Marie Wallin patterns that will be entered in our make along. Our new one, our new make along. Okay, so now we'll go into new cast-ons. I know that was a new cast-on as well, but you guys would have known it was coming because I showed my swatches last podcast. Okay, so now we'll move on to the next new cast-on. So the pattern that I'm using is found in Lina issue 3. You can buy it. You can also buy it online. I'm pretty sure you can buy it separately. Yeah. So I'm making the Treysta, which is a pattern by Jennifer Steingass. So I was watching Free Your Sheep, Anastasia Free Your Sheep podcast the other day, her latest episode, and she was showing her Radari that she had finished, and it was so beautiful. It's an Icelandic pullover that she had made, and it's also by, I believe, it's also by Jennifer Steingass. And I was like, oh, I really want to make one, but I wasn't sure which one I wanted to make. So as luck would have it, I've purchased all these Lina magazines and very rarely knit out of them, to be honest. So I went searching through. How did I do that? So on Ravelry, you can do like saved searches. And because I have like a set number of Lina magazines, what I did was, and this was on recommendation from a lovely viewer and friend, Judith, who said that you can save these searches, and what you can do is like just search for the Lina magazine. Is it Lina magazine? Is that how I did it? Something like that. And then it will pull up all the patterns that are found in the individual magazines, and they're all in one saved search. So I can go through there and go, okay, I know I have all of these patterns in my library because I have the magazines myself, and then I can just easily search through and put on different search filters and things like that. So I was looking for colorwork sweater. I knew there was one in there somewhere that was like an Aran weight, which was perfect, and it is the Treysta. So here's the Treysta. I'll pop in a better picture so you can see the full sweater. And I'm knitting it up out of the Let Lopey, which is the original called for yarn. That's exactly what I wanted. I wanted a Let Lopey, actually cardigan. So I'm going to be converting it to a cardigan. So Let Lopey is an Aran, they say heavy worsted Aran weight yarn. I am using 4 different colors. Here, I'll show you what I have so far. It's the front. Oh, there. I'll show it here. This is what I have so far here. I'll show this one side. It's all the same. Oh, I love it. I love, love, love it. It's exactly what I wanted. Something with a little bit of low contrast, neutral colors that I could wear with pretty much anything. Yeah, so I'm turning this into a cardigan. So you'll see I've added in some steek stitches down the center. So this is my first time steeking a garment. I have steeked a shawl in the past, but this is my first time doing a steeked garment, and I'm doing it I'm improvising the pattern, which I don't know if it was the right way to go, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes. So what I've done here is, oh, I talked to Rebecca of the Crochet podcast and Mega of Skeins of Dreams podcast kindly offered me a bit of advice when it comes to steeking, because they've both done it in the past. So there's basically two ways that you can do it. Like you could just forego the collar at the beginning and just knit the collar work, knit the pullover basically, and then come back and pick up after you've steeked, pick up and do the neckband. Or you can start by knitting flat. So you would just make a ribbed panel for however long you want your neckline, like however, yeah, the length of the neckline and the width of the neckline that you want to make, and just knit back and forth flat. And then, so you can see that's what I've done here. And then when you're ready to join in the round and start knitting the body of the sweater, you just put in your steek stitches. So that's what I've done. I'm hoping it works out okay. So I've just added in 5 steek stitches. I put little markers to mark them. I probably don't need to do that because I did do, like, my steek stitches are 2 purl rows, 1 knit row, 2 purls rows. So it's pretty evident where the steek is. I don't think I'd get confused, but I did it anyways, just in case. And what else did I do? I added in 1 extra stitch in general when I was increasing for the yoke, just to make sure that there was going to be pattern symmetry, because I wanted, let's see, can you see the pattern? I wanted the patterns to mirror each other on either side. See, if I hadn't added in that extra stitch, then I would be starting over here and it wouldn't be mirrored. So yeah, that was just, it's easy enough. So far so good. And it's just flying off the needles because it's Aran weight and it's on, what size needle am I using? A US 6 4.0 millimeter, 4 millimeter for the color work. So yeah, this is so much faster. I needed something on bigger needles because everything else is on like US 2.75 millimeter needles. So it's nice to have something to switch up. And yeah, I'm really loving this. So this is going to be a little cardigan that I can throw on. And the colors are so pretty to me. So I did order this brown. It's called Acorn. I'll go through the colors here. Acorn is the dark brown. This lighter color is called light beige. In the middle, there's this yellow that's called golden. And then down below, there's this really pale brown that's oatmeal. So I did order a sweater's quantity of this Acorn, and I was going to initially make Braids of Grass by Albina McLaughlin. However, it's a cabled pattern, and I wasn't sure that the cables would show up very well in the dark brown. So I thought, you know what, I'll go ahead and use it for this. I can always order more if I really want to, but yeah. So I had a sweater's quantity of that I had ordered, and then I did order some light beige, this color here, because I initially was going to make the Maya cardigan into a pullover, a 2-color pullover, similar to what Yana did on Finished Knitting Stories. I love her version of the Maya. It was a sweater. She turned it into a sweater with just 2 colors. I think it was just 2. Yeah, it was really pretty. So I was going to do that. But here I am with my Treysta. And the golden color is leftovers from my mom's yard sweater that she made, that she started over 30 years ago and then finally finished, was it last year or the year before? So she gave me all her leftovers. So I had just a little bit of this golden left. And same with the oatmeal is leftovers from her sweater as well. So I'm using some, like, seriously deep stash here. 30-plus-year-old yarn. But yeah, I just love it. So that is the Treysta, and that's housed in my own Handmade project bag that I made with the help of my mom. I am not a sewist. Okay, and then my final cast on, or hook on, I don't know what you call it. It's a Crochet Project. is housed, oh, I have to mention the bag. It's housed in this gorgeous new project bag that I got from Yellow Petal Handmade, which is she has a shop. I think she's out on the East Coast. Oh, now I can't remember. Is it Nova Scotia? She's on the East Coast, anyways, Canadian. And I just want to say her bags are beautiful. They're so well made. So it's got this like linen base. I think it's linen. And then like cotton, beautiful cotton flower print. And then the inside is lined. Oh, I should show you. There's like a little pocket in there and everything. It's really pretty. She goes all out. See, there's little pockets inside. You can put your needles or notions, whatever you need to. Just gorgeous. And then it's got a removable strap. You can take it off if you want. Highly recommend. Gorgeous, gorgeous handmade project bag. This was my first time ordering from her. Her name's Penelope, and it is just beautiful. Very, very pleased with it. Okay, so housed in here is a crochet project. So I should say I'm making this as part of a make-along that the lovely Sarah from It Is a Sarah podcast, if you haven't seen her podcast, highly recommend. I love everything she makes. Sarah's got this very like boho inspired style. I love her aesthetic. She loves like all the browns and earth tones, and it's just, I just love everything she makes. Anyway, so she's running a flora make-along. I'll put the hashtag here. It's pretty long. And so I decided now would be a great time to make myself a fern. And I'll pop in some pictures. Those of you who follow me on Instagram may have already seen this, but I'll pop in some pictures of why this is an embarrassing necessity. Yeah. I'm a terrible houseplant mom. Like, I just suck at it. I like completely like overwater and like to the point where I'll just keep watering every day. Oh, you need more water. Oh, more water every day till I drown my plants. Or I completely neglect them so that they just die on their own because of neglect. I'm just terrible. I can grow anything outside, probably because nature does all the work. But from a houseplant perspective, I suck. And it's funny because I was watching Gabriella of the Merriweather Knitting podcast, and she was saying she had the same problem. So I'm happy to know that I'm not the only one out there. Yeah. So anyways, I've decided I'm going to make, because I cannot keep a fern alive in my house. My fern's in even worse shape than those pictures, because those pictures are a little bit older now, but yeah. Anyways, I'm going to make a fake one. And so I found this pattern on Etsy actually. And the pattern I think is called the Hanging Fern. It's by VintageBeso or Beso. I'll put a link down below, just in case you're curious. It wasn't an expensive pattern. I think it was like $4 or something. It wasn't Canadian, $4 maybe. I don't remember. It wasn't super expensive. And those of you who are like prolific crocheters probably could have just figured out how to make these ferns yourself. I'm not great at crochet. I'm still learning, so I needed to purchase the pattern to do it. Yeah, so I'm using this yarn in this vibrant green. This is Cascade 220 Superwash Sport in the colorway Juniper. And the pattern says to hold the yarn, so it calls for sport yarn, but it says to hold it double. This yarn is splitty as heck. And so I could not, with my crochet hook, I couldn't do it. I couldn't capture both strands. It just wasn't working for me. So I'm only holding it single. So I'll show you what I have made. Let me see if I can find some. And I'll pop a picture in, if I didn't say that already, I'll pop a picture in what the finished one kind of looks like. Okay, Sorry, some of them I haven't woven in ends. This one I have. So this is a small fern leaf. And I can't decide whether I like the crochet side, like the right side, oops, or the wrong side better. I'll have to decide. So that's the small version, and then there's a large version. Basically, they're all just the same thing, just different lengths. And then there's a medium version somewhere in here too. There's 3 different sizes. So what you do is you make 5 of the small, 10 of the medium, and 10 of the large. And then what you do is you get yourself some stem wire. So I'm using, I think this is a little bit thinner than what it calls for. The pattern says to use, I think, 18 gauge stem wire. I'm using 22 gauge. So basically you can get this at, I don't know, I just got it at Michael's, which is like a craft store, but in the like flower section. Oh God, can you even see that? Anyways, it's like this really thin wire. And then so what you do is you end up threading it through each of the, you thread one through each of the leaves that you make to give it structure. And then that way you can, like, you know how ferns kind of like go up and then down? You can kind of play with the structure and make it look like more of a real fern. So I've purchased this terracotta pot, and inside I have this, it's a ball of styrofoam. I'm not a supporter of styrofoam generally. This is recycled. I did pay a little extra to get the recycled styrofoam. At least I feel a little better about it, but in general, styrofoam is not a fan. But I didn't know how else to get the wires. Like, you need something to put the wires in to make them, the leaves stand up, right? So that's what's gonna happen. I'm pretty excited. I've already tried like sticking one of the wires through to see how I can like make the fern leaves look, and they look pretty cute. So I'm really excited to get that done and assembled. And then I think I have some macrame cord that I bought online, I think through Amazon. I couldn't find any at Michael's, which was kind of surprising. I thought they'd have some. And so I bought some on Amazon. I bought like a cone of it, and I'm gonna probably make a another macrame plant holder and put my little fake fern in it. So yeah, that's been fun. It's kind of a mindless project. It's really easy once you get the hang of it. It's super easy. And I'm using, I don't know if you can see here, it's a size F crochet hook. What is that? A 3.75 millimeter crochet hook. And as I mentioned, I'm holding the yarn single, not double. And I think the leaves are turning out fine. Once they're pressed, like I'll press them so they're a little flatter, and then, yeah, stick the wire in them. I think they'll be cute. And I did also go ahead and buy, because I don't really have very many crochet hooks. As I mentioned, I kind of buy them as I need them. So instead I went ahead and bought a Licca set, just because I think they're gorgeous. This is a Licca, I think it's called the Umber set. So it comes with a bunch of different sizes of crochet hooks, and they're all like, I think these are birch wood, or are they driftwood? I can't remember now, but they're wood. They're beautiful. They're so smooth, so nice. Anyways, yeah, a dream to work with, this little thing. I really like it. And I just got this from Yarn Canada on their website. So I think that is it for all the yarny makes, but I do have another craft, or I guess it's a craft too, that I wanted to mention. So those of you who follow me on Instagram may already know, but I am trying my hand at solar dyeing of yarn. So I've never dyed yarn before. I've never naturally dyed, acid dyed, nothing. I've really been interested in the natural dyeing process. I know it's a lot more work. And sorry, there is a bird. What is it doing? It must be cooling off. It's sitting there with its wings. It's a robin, I think. Sitting on the fence, like with its wings, like just fanned right out. Like it's either sunbathing or trying to cool off. Not sure. Anyways, sorry, distracted. Yeah, so the natural dyeing really appealed to me. I just think from an environmental perspective, that's where my interest lies. However, the mordanting thing was a little overwhelming. So I looked into it, and I know there's a few different substances you can use, like natural dye stuff that you can use that doesn't require mordanting of yarn first. So 2 of those are onion skins and avocado pits and skins. So as it happens, I've been saving up my avocado pits and skins for about a year now, and in my freezer, just storing them in my freezer after watching a video by Cabin Boy Knits, where Christopher talked about how he dyes with avocado pits and skins. So I'd been saving them, thinking, you know, I'm going to try that. And then, again, Yana from Finished Knitting Stories was showing off her solar dyeing experiments. And I was like, oh, solar dyeing. I never even thought of that. That's a brilliant idea because it seems so much easier. I know you have to have a lot of patience because it's going to take a lot longer, but you don't have to heat up your house with pots. I don't have to like boil water or anything. I don't have to do anything really other than, as Christopher from Cabin Boy Knit says, you just have to wash your yarn first. So that's it. So I'll pop in a picture. I've been taking pictures every day of the solar dye jars as they progress, so you can see how they started and where they're at now. They're not done yet. I won't be able to show you the yarn yet because it's gonna take a little while longer. So I put them out in the middle of a heat wave thinking this is great, it's sunny, it's hot, you know, I'll take advantage of that. And then we got some kind of cloudy, cooler, stormy weather where there was like lots of rain and it was cooler. So I don't think it did much in those days. So there was a bit of a progression and then it kind of stopped. But it's hot again, so I'm gonna get those jars back out. But yeah, pop that picture in so you can see. And I'll show you what I have right now. So this is the onion skins. John, my partner, says it looks like spaghetti. Spaghetti and sauce in a jar. So yeah, you can see that some of the areas are not taking any dye. I'm not sure why. I mean, I shake the jar every single day, and I've even put it upside down for one day, but then I had some leakage, so I'm not gonna. These are not true mason jars. They're just a screw-on lid. They don't have the actual like you know, the separate pieces. So I don't know if that makes a difference. I don't think the seal is as good. But anyways, yeah, this is what I have so far. It's this gorgeous, like, rusty orange color that I'm really loving. I love it. And I don't know, I was silly. I didn't weigh out my onion skins before I put them in there, so I don't even know how much I have in here. I'm a terrible scientist, obviously. Because realistically, I should do that, right? So I can repeat it. Or if I know, like, you know, let's say I had like 10 grams, I don't even know, 10 grams of onion skins and it was too dark or too light or whatever, then I'd know to add more or less next time. And so I didn't do that because it was totally on a whim. I just watched, okay, again, Cabin Boy Knits has a video specific to solar dyeing, solar natural dyeing. So I watched that video and then I was like, oh, I had the 2 jars, I have the skeins of yarn, and I know I had the avocados, and then I'm like, I might have onion skins, and I did. So I just totally winged it. I didn't even count how many avocado pit skins or whatever I put in my jar. So this is the avocado. There's not a lot of color to it. If you look at the before picture, you'll see that it's definitely darker. Like there's more of like a greeny brown tinge to it, but it's not like there's not a super large amount of color to it. Not yet anyways. But I think Chris also said that his took, like it seemed like the avocados took longer. So I'll just leave them out until I'm happy with whatever color I can get out of them. Yeah. Dye experiments, and super exciting. So in the process, all I did was I followed Chris's recommendation of washing the yarn first. So I just took the 2 skeins. Oh, they're a super wash merino 2-ply that I ordered from Acme Fibers here in Canada, just so you know. I had ordered them for a blanket that I was going to make, but I might still use these for the blanket. We'll see. Anyways, that's the yarn that I'm using. It's a fingering weight superwash. I don't think they have non-superwash. I would have preferred non-superwash if I could have got it, but I'm pretty sure they didn't have it. So I washed the yarn with soak. I just used soak, just like I would any garment or whatever. I threw the yarn in the sink with the soak, let it soak for, I don't know, 20 minutes maybe. Wasn't super long. I don't know if that was long enough actually. And then I rinsed it in clean water. And then I put in some, I think I did 2 pits and 2 skins at the bottom of the jar. And then I started putting in the wet yarn. So you have to do it like you should do it while it's wet. You want that yarn, I guess, to open up. It's why you're soaking it, pre-soaking it, pre-washing it, whatever. Pre-washing it to get off all the oil so that the color sticks, and then pre-soaking it so that it opens up. And then as I'm adding in the yarn, I'm kind of layering it with avocado skins and pits all the way up, so there's color in between, sandwiched in, and then of course on the top. And I literally used every avocado pit and skin I had. So who knows? Who knows what the end result will be? It might be really, really dark and muddy. I don't know. And I did the same thing with the onion skins. So yeah, if you have any of those things lying around and you have some hot weather coming your way, you might want to give it a try. It's been really interesting. And I love taking the picture every day just to see like how much it's changed. I think it'll be cool to see the before and after. Like the start and the final will be really cool. Side by side. So yeah, that's what I have been up to. And what else? Okay, so now I think we're done with the crafting talk. We'll move on to life stuff. So in terms of life stuff, we haven't been doing too much. Like I said, we were in a bit of a heat wave there for a while. So even my knitting mojo kind of fell to the wayside. I literally couldn't do anything. I just laid there and scrolled on my phone for like hours one day. Like I just laid in bed with the fan on me, just scrolling. We don't have air conditioning. That's a lie. Our daughter has air conditioning up in her room. We just have one of those, the box ones that you put in the window, because her upstairs gets really, really hot, like unbearably hot. So we have the one air conditioner and we put it in her room so she stays nice and cool while we all die down below. We're blowing hot air around with our fans. So yeah, I was literally laying in bed going like looking at knitting patterns because I couldn't knit. I just couldn't bring myself to do it. I didn't even want to watch podcasts. I didn't want to do anything. I just didn't want to move. That's how hot it was. But it's cooled off. We had a big rainstorm. There was some lightning and thunder, and Lily and I my daughter and I got caught in the rainstorm. So every single day we go for walks on my lunch. So I'm working from home, and Lily is off of school right now. The kids are off of school for summer. So at lunchtime we go for a walk together. And on Thursday, I think it was, Wednesday. Anyways, one of the days in the week, I said, okay, well, I have to go to a store they forgot to remove one of those tags that prevent you from stealing stuff. It was like one of those ink tag things off of a pair of linen shorts that I got. So anyways, I had to go back in and explain that I needed the tag removed. So I was like, okay, instead of going for a walk at lunch, we'll go for a drive and we'll get that taken care of. So we did that. And then while we were at the store, Lily was like, can I look around? And we did some shopping. And the next thing you know, there's a huge storm outside and it's like pouring rain and it's my lunch hour and I have to get back to work. So I'm like, we can't really wait it out. We'll wait in a second or two just to see if it's going to clear up. It didn't. So I'm like, hey, we're just gonna make a run for the car. And literally the car was not parked far away. Literally from the store to the car, completely drenched, like utterly and completely drenched from head to toe. It was raining that hard and the wind was blowing the rain on us and we're laughing. It was, sorry, there's a bit of noise going on, construction or something. Hope you can't hear that. Anyway, so Lily and I are just dying laughing because we're just like completely soaked. And I'm sure people in the cars were laughing as they watched us run through the rain, but it was funny. Anyways, I was thankful for it because we really needed it. It was getting really dry. I was having to water like plants every single day and so it was good. We needed the rain. And I know there's lots of places right now that could use some rain. So I'm really hoping that you guys get some rain too. Because, yeah, climate change, it's a real thing. Not a good thing. So that's that. Yeah, so we've gone to the beach a couple times or so and going for walks. We've not really traveled anywhere. We don't really have any plans to travel other than we'll probably go visit my mom again at some point. And I think we have to travel down to Guelph, which is about a 5-hour drive from here. For a family function too. So that's pretty much it. Otherwise, we're just sticking around. Okay, in terms of gardening, I literally squealed with delight when I looked at my pea plants and found a pea growing. I was so happy. Yes, I grew peas for the first time. I'm sorry for you gardeners who are like, oh my gosh, like seriously, Nikki? But for me, it's a first. It's a first, and it was so exciting and so worth it. I think I need to grow more pea plants next time, though. So I have 5 or 6. And so far, I've counted, we've gotten 7 pea pods. Not even enough for a dinner. But they're delicious. We've all tried them, and they are the sweetest, most delicious peas, and they're organically grown. So yeah, I think next time I might grow some more. Our carrots aren't ready yet. That I don't think, anyways. And the squash has been stunted, as has the cucumber. So or the watermelon. So I don't know. Things are not looking great. Just the peas. The peas are keeping me happy, and my tomato plants are growing, but I don't have any flowers on them yet. Hopefully soon. My raspberry bush is in bloom. I'm not going to get too excited because I know with the strawberries, I got so excited. There was so many blooms on them and then I got no strawberries. So I'm not going to get excited about the raspberries. If I get them, I get them. Then I'll be excited when I see them. My clematis is doing wonderful. I have 3 of the 4 are blooming. And I don't know if I went through the colors. I was trying to get some reds for the hummingbirds, but it looks like we've got a dark pink, a light pink, a light purple, and then the 4th is still a mystery. I have no idea because it doesn't seem to want to bloom. We'll see. Maybe it's red. Who knows? Update on the monarchs. I showed a video, I think it was last episode, of some pretty hungry looking monarch caterpillars. We had, I think I counted 7. In the end, 4 made it to a large size. The other 3 died, basically. Spiders. I keep flicking the spiders off every time I see a spider on the milkweed. Because yeah, anyways, trying to give the monarchs a go here. They're listed as endangered now, I think globally, I was reading. So anyways, so 4 very hungry, very chubby caterpillars made it to chrysalis stage. I'm quite certain. I was monitoring them every day and they disappeared, all 4 of them, within 2 days of each other, kind of thing. And I don't know where they go to make their chrysalises, but I'm hoping that they were successful. And I did see a couple monarchs the other day flying around. Now I should look. I can't remember the timelines for them. We raised them 1 year, like inside. I took them inside because I saw they were dying outside. So we took them in. We have like a butterfly cage or whatever. And we watched them go through the whole cycle, which was amazing for the kids. And for me too, I'd never seen it. It's so cool. So you start to understand, like, you know, when the caterpillar's antennas start to get crimpy, that means they're getting close to doing their, wanting to make their chrysalis. And when they make their chrysalis, they hang upside down in a J shape. It's really cool. And then I haven't seen them form the chrysalis, like how they actually form it. I've just seen them do their J curl, let's say the night before, and then we go to sleep and we wake up and they're in like this gorgeous green chrysalis that has like gold flecks around the edging. It's gorgeous. It's like a jade green. Is it jade or emerald? Really beautiful, brilliant green with gold flecks, like literally like shiny gold. It's so cool. And then I can't remember how many days it takes, but they do their metamorphosis inside, and then their chrysalis turns clear, and you can actually see on the inside that they have their butterfly wings, and they're all kind of crunched up in there, and then they emerge. And then they need time. I learned that lesson. Very bad lesson to learn. They need time for the blood to pump out to their wings, so their wings spread out and they can fly. Because when they first come out, their wings are kind of crinkly and they don't have like fluid in them yet, so they can't flap them yet. We made the mistake of letting one go too early when we were keeping them inside, and we put it outside and it couldn't fly yet, and a cat got it. Not our cat. We don't let our cats outside. But a cat definitely got it. It was ripped to shreds. Anyways, it was awful. Learned that lesson. So they need time. So yeah, really cool. Really, really cool. The only reason we stopped doing the monarch thing, like bringing them inside, because it definitely gives them a better chance at surviving, is because I read about an article. There was a scientific study that was done that was saying that moving the chrysalises can mess up the monarch's ability to navigate afterwards. So if you don't know about the life cycle of the monarch butterflies, in Canada they fly from Mexico usually. I think they can fly from California as well. I think that happens too, but they generally fly from Mexico to Canada. Those ones lay their eggs and die, and then the ones that hatch or whatever, they mate again and then lay another batch, and then that second batch, I think it is, that flies back to Mexico to overwinter, and then they'll fly back to Canada and die. So that's how the life cycle works. It's really cool. But basically what I read was that moving the chrysalis, so the chrysalis needs to stay stationary. If you move it, it messes up with their navigation, and they're not able to determine which way is the way that they need to fly. So, and I'm not sure, like, if that means, because it might have been in reference to people who are ordering chrysalises from, let's say, California, and they truck them somewhere or they fly them somewhere and they're like in a totally different location. Or I don't know if it was like moving them at all, like generally even just turning them could mess things up. So anyways, ever since I read that, I'm like, okay, I'm not going to touch them anymore. I'm just going to let them do their thing outside. I'll flick off the spiders to protect them. I might move them from plant to plant if I see that they're demolishing one of the milkweeds. I'll move them around a little bit, like just the caterpillars, to a different plant, but I don't mess around with the chrysalises. So anyways, I think I've talked long enough about monarchs, but it's a pretty cool thing. A lot of people don't know. It's very cool. So that's that. And lastly, in terms of wildlife stuff, I came out the other morning, and I saw a hummingbird at our bee balm, and I was like thrilled. It was a little girl. We have ruby-throated hummingbirds here. That's the only ones we have, and it was a female for sure. She didn't have the red throat, so the males have the red throat, and the females are just green. And she was at our bee balm, and I'll put a picture in of what the bee balm looks like. It's this crazy flower. It looks so weird. To me, it reminds me of I don't know, kids of the 80s might relate to this, but like Fraggle Rock or the Muppets with the crazy like standing up hair. Anyways, that's what it reminds me of. But they're bright red, and the bees love them and hummingbirds love them. We get hummingbirds usually every year, but yeah. So I definitely want to plant more bee balm. Really cool plant. Okay, so I think that is it. I think I've talked about everything. Oh, I didn't, sorry. I just want to say thank you to everyone who took the time to comment on my last video and tell me all about your knitting styles. So I discovered that, you know, it's not so simple as just English and continental. There are people out there that have different methods of combinations of things depending on what they're knitting. So if they're doing color work, it might be something different. There's different ways to purl. There's like a Norwegian purl, I've heard, Russian purl, I think. Yeah, it was so interesting. So thank you so much for sharing. I find it so intriguing. And I forgot to do it. I was gonna do like some kind of a stats, like a graph or whatever, to show the number of responders versus like the English throwers versus continental, stuff like that, but I just didn't get around to it, so I'm sorry. But yeah, thank you so much for taking time to do that. And with that, I'll just say, if you enjoyed this video, please do give it a like and make sure you're subscribed so you can catch all of my future videos. And yeah, wishing you all a happy 3 weeks and happy making. Bye.